Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I'm proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So, February 19th is Smokey Robinson's 81st birthday. And we'll just say happy birthday, Smokey Robinson. And all I could do is somehow pray that you find the courage and the strength to tell the truth. Because I've got to assure you on one thing, Smokey Robinson. I understand the soul, the human soul, very well. And I know that if you die, Smokey Robinson, and if you never admit the truth that Michael Jackson was your son, your life will be a total failure. That's all there is to it. You have an opportunity to cleanse your soul, tell the truth, and heal the world. And if you neglect your responsibility and your obligation to tell the truth to the world, then your life will be a total failure. All I can say is you need to find the strength, Smokey, because I'm here and I'm not going to forgive you for what you did to Michael Jackson. And that's not going to happen. I'm going to be in control of your history. And if you don't step up and tell the truth, this is what I tell to everybody. This is a flat out warning. If you do not tell the truth to the world before I'm the one telling the truth to the world, I'm going to destroy your whole legacy. All of it. It's gone. You're going to be looked as a pariah. You're going to be a horrible, evil person. I'm going to make sure that the world knows that Smokey Robinson is definitely a primary cause for the pain that turned Michael Jackson into a drug addict, which leads to his death. Oh, you better bet that. You better know that this is coming, Smokey. Find the courage to stand up and tell the truth and understand that your history is not secure. Your place in the world is not established. So, this is a Larry King here with Michael. This is like the day after Michael Jackson died, and this is Larry King this is Smokey Robinson on the Larry King Show. What I want you to see here is that you got to take it into the context. This is the day after Michael Jackson died. Michael Jackson is Smokey Robinson's secret child, his love child that he had with Diana Ross. Okay, so in the real world, when Michael Jackson died and Smokey Robinson's having to deal with that reality, right? Now let's look at the words of what he says, because he's going to be talking about the creation of Motown, and at the time of the creation of Motown, he instantly relates that to Michael Jackson's birth, because that's the true story of what happened. Is Smokey Robinson is Michael Jackson's father, Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's mother. The creation of Motown happened at the exact same time, because what happened is Smokey Robinson met Berry Gordy in August of 1957. That is the beginning of Motown. Michael Jackson is born 1 year later. So from the time when Smokey Robinson and Berry Gordy meet, okay, and they start to develop the record company and everything, they're working together. So by the time Michael Jackson is born, you've got the actual reality of Motown is just starting to develop at that time. So here, as Smokey Robinson relates to Michael Jackson, in his mind, think about what he's talking. He relates back to the creation of Motown and Michael Jackson's birth. Those are the things that were occurring at the same time, which is what's in Smokey's head. And you'll see that the reason it's in his head, and when he says it, it's actually like a confession, because I know the real story, and I understand that the way he talks it when he's relating it to Michael Jackson's birth, I know that the reason he's doing that is because that happened. Michael was born in Detroit right at the time that Motown was being created. That happened. That's actually what happened. Now when you understand that that's actually where Michael Jackson comes from, what actually is occurring, listen to Smokey talking about Michael Jackson. This is right after he died.
Smokey, what was your first reaction when you heard this? I couldn't believe it. It was unbelievable to me. I have gone through this many times with the Motown artists and the Motown family of artists. And this was just devastating. I mean, I just couldn't accept it at first. I think about, Michael was a young man, and time goes by so quickly. I thought about the fact that last year we started to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Motown Records, and when we were starting out with the record company, he was being born. And
when we were starting out with the record company, he was being born. Now, people, you think it's like a subtle thing, and people just, you would think that maybe it's something that's like, oh, he's talking about Michael Jackson's born, but when you understand the true story, that Michael's his child. So when he wants to talk, when he's thinking about his child, Michael Jackson, just after he's died. He's dealing with hard realities, right? And what's he thinking about? Michael Jackson's 50 years old. Motown's 50 years old. Michael Jackson was being born right as Motown was being developed. That's what he told you right there. I'm thinking about he's thinking about the 50 years. I'm thinking about the creation of Motown and and that's when Michael was born.
50th anniversary of Motown Records, and when we were starting out with the record company, he was being born. And the 50 years seemed like that they have gone by overnight.
The 50 years. He's not just relating. Right there, when he's talking about the 50 years seems like it's gone by overnight, he's actually talking about Michael Jackson's 50 years. That's actually what he's saying, the 50 years, because he was there for every year of Michael Jackson's life. He was there at the moment Michael was born. Now, they gave Michael away, and Michael was out doing his own thing. Michael's out doing his own thing on his own, finding his way in the world on his own, it's crazy. But the reality is that his memory about Michael Jackson, he instantly goes back to the time he's born. Okay, now, Smokey Robinson should not be instantly referring back to like the time when Michael Jackson's born. He should be talking about the time when Michael came to Motown. He should be talking about, when he came to Motown, he just had so much energy and stuff, and talent. And those are the memories that should be like, if you're Smokey Robinson, at this moment in life when Michael Jackson died, what Smokey Robinson should be thinking about is the first time he met Michael Jackson. Okay, well, that's not 50 years ago. That's later. That's about 10 years later and stuff, right? So why is Smokey Robinson thinking about when Michael Jackson was born? When you actually understand the true story, now it's one of those things that's like, it's a subtle thing, right? That's why he's able to do it and get away with it. Nobody really pushes him on it and stuff, right? But when you know the real story, when you actually know that Michael Jackson is Smokey Robinson's kid and Diana Ross's kid, you know that Michael Jackson, the actual Michael Jackson being conceived and being born is very much integral right in the actual dates of the whole development of Motown being developed. They go hand in hand. You cannot, if you're Smokey Robinson, you can't separate that because the whole thing of what occurred, they went hand in hand. Diana Ross got pregnant right after Smokey met Berry Gordy. Okay, so they're having to figure out what they're going to do with the kid and stuff, right? Then they end up abandoning him. Right after they abandon him, boom, Tamla is officially established, and then Motown right after that. It's right there, boom, boom. It's exactly what's going on. So that's why he's actually saying these words. That's why when Smokey Robinson thinking about Michael Jackson, in his mind, he goes back to the beginning. The beginning should be when he met Michael Jackson. That should be the beginning. His thoughts right here when going back to think about Michael Jackson, it should always be about that moment when they first met the Jacksons and the Jacksons first came to Motown and his first experiences and hearing Michael sing his songs better than he was. Think about how much memories and real life experience Smokey Robinson has with Michael Jackson at that time. those memories and experiences would be so powerful and overwhelming in Smokey Robinson's memory that if Smokey Robinson was going to go back and reminisce about times when he thinking about a young Michael Jackson, why is he talking about when Michael Jackson's born, which also coincides with the exact time of the creation of Motown? He should not be thinking that way. It's one of these things that you people never see it, and you can't understand that can be picked apart and be explained in a different way, that it's wrong, that it's odd. Because it just seems like, oh, well, okay, it just seems like it's not such a big deal. But when you actually think about it, you actually analyze it, his memory should go back to Michael Jackson coming to the Motown with the Jackson 5, like all the life, the energy, the way he was dancing and moving. I mean, that's like powerful stuff. His memories should be just thick, It should be thick memories of that time and period. But for some reason, at this time in his life, when he's having to reminisce and dealing with the heartfelt issue that Michael Jackson just died, what's this guy talking about when Michael Jackson was born? That's what he's talking about, and he tells you it coincided right along the creation of Motown, which is what my story is all about. The reason they had to get rid of Michael Jackson is because it coincided with the creation of Motown was occurring at the same time. And Diana Ross was only 14 years old. Smokey Robinson, as Michael Jackson's father, trying to become a pop star, he needs his image to be clean. He's 18 years old. He's a clean kid. He's got a good image. These are kids, remember, they're coming from Detroit, They're not, and they're black. It's one of those things that's like, I have to say they're black, okay? They're obviously black people, right? So it's one of the things about when you got a white person talking about black people, it's one of those things where I hate that I have to know that there's some sensitivity issues out there, because I just don't like to say it. I just like to be like freely wanting to say it. But then it's like, oh shit, I said black. I gotta be careful. Oh, shit's hilarious and shit, right? But it's a reality. Berry Gordy knew that the black artists were going to have a harder time selling to the white consumer. Then that's it. That's the time and age of where they were coming up in the world, That was real. At that moment in time when they're trying to think about the reality of what was going on in that time, if Smokey Robinson had gotten a 14-year-old Diana Ross pregnant, that's right in the neighborhood, they're right there, right? He's got her pregnant. Do you really think that Berry Gordy now, because Berry Gordy's deep in it, he's hooked up with Smokey. He's already, like, before Berry Gordy would have even known that Diana was pregnant, Berry had already recorded Smokey Robinson, the song Got a Job, produced it, got it released, and playing on the radio. Like, that's even before. That's before that they would have known and stuff. That stuff that happened quick and stuff, right? So Berry Gordy was already totally invested with Berry Gordy's totally invested with Smokey Robinson before he finds out that Smokey's got Diana pregnant. Now they've got an issue. So Berry Gordy at that time, that's it. He's hooked up with Smokey. Berry and Smokey are doing it. They're doing it together. That's the thing. Berry did not have Motown Records. It's when he met Smokey Robinson, they started to work together and they built the record company together. It's not that Motown it's when, like he says, I go back and I think about when Motown's being created, and that's when Michael Jackson was being born, because that's what was going on. This is the whole story about how Michael gets put into the Jackson household, because Motown's being created at that same time, and Berry Gordy can't take a chance of having his artist, the artist that he's building the company around, Smokey Robinson, he can't take the chance of having his image ruined, which would ruin his image, but now he's working with Berry. That could ruin Berry's image too. Okay? They've got a problem. They can't allow that 14-year-old girl, Diana Ross, to have the kid once Berry's hooked up with Smokey. So they give the kid away. That's the reality of Michael Jackson's life. That's why when Michael Jackson dies and Smokey Robinson's having to feel the burdens that he's been carrying all his life, that's why he clearly confesses to you right here. It's uncontrollable. He can't stop it. When he went to think back upon Michael Jackson, he went back to think about the reality. Michael was being born right at the time Motown was being developed. And he just told you right there, and there's no reason that he should be thinking about Michael Jackson's birthday, because he should be thinking about the time, about the overwhelming reality of when the Jacksons came, like the experiences and all the stuff of what they had to, all the memories of which Smokey Robinson would have had to draw from, of that experience in that time. But when he went to think about Michael Jackson, he didn't think about that. Like, think about the memories would have been so much. That's where he would have went back to with his memories with Michael Jackson. If that's the true story of where he meets Michael Jackson, that's where his mind would have went. But it didn't go there. He directly went right back to where Michael Jackson was born and told you that it was relating to the creation of Motown. That's what his memory remembers of Michael Jackson, because that's what happened. That's the burden of what he's having to deal with in his soul, that he's wanting to get off and he wanting to get out. That's what he's dealing with. And he just told you, what am I actually dealing with? I'm having to deal with the reality. I remember when Michael was born, right when Motown was being created, and now he's having to deal with, he's thinking it's 50 years later, you know? He's like, it's a circle now. It's been completed. That's why he's talking about Motown, because he's relating to Michael Jackson as an integral member of the actual creation and development of Motown. And that's what he thinks about with Michael. He thinks about the creation of Motown. And that's why he said he's thinking about when Michael, and with 50 years of Motown and Michael being born.
To celebrate the 50th anniversary of Motown Records, and when we were starting out with the record company, he was being born.
See what I'm saying? That doesn't work. That doesn't work right there. He should not have instantly went back to thinking about his Michael Jackson's memory should have been so massive about thinking about when he first came to Motown. Because he would have been thinking about all the first instances he had of meeting Michael Jackson and the way he moved and this kid and all this stuff. But that's not what he thought about. He thought about Motown being created, and that's when Michael Jackson was born. Because Smokey Robinson's Michael Jackson's actual father, and in his soul, he couldn't hide it, and that's what came out right there, and you saw it. So, Smokey Robinson, you're 81 years old now, you know? At what point in your life are you going to understand that the truth is important, and that the public deserves to hear the truth? Regardless of the circumstances of the repercussions of what developed from the truth, the reality is the truth exists, and you're holding it, you're withholding the truth from the public. That's an act of Satan, and I know that you do not want to live that way, Smokey, and I'm telling you straight out, if you die with that burden, if you withhold that information and you carry that to your death, you will be going to hell. You will be a failure. Not only will you be going to hell, I'm going to destroy all of your accomplishments in your life. Do you understand that, Smokey? That's what's going to happen to you. This is your birthday message and your birthday gift from me. I'm giving you a chance to free yourself from that evil force you're holding on to within inside you. You need to let it go, deal with the reality. So what if if you lost all your money right now, so what? Like, you couldn't go make more money tomorrow? You can make money. Money should mean nothing to you. You should be dealing with the reality of having to deal with carrying that burden on your soul. What's more important to you, Smokey? That the public gets informed about the truth and they get to deal with the realities of the world of what the power of that truth could do to them. And let's say you lose all your money for whatever reason, whatever reason. Let's say you had to give up all your money because of the truth or whatever. I'm sure that's not going to happen and shit. But let's just say it happened. Let's say you had to give up everything, all the rights to your songs. Like, let's just say somebody makes a deal with you and says, okay, you could tell the truth, and all you're going to lose is all your money. You're not going to lose anything else. You're just going to lose all your money. Would you do that deal, Smokey? I mean, I already know the answer because you've never done it. So no, you wouldn't do it, you know? And so it's like, okay, you're on your path to hell, you know? You're on a highway to hell. Down a highway to hell. That's right, Smokey. You're on a highway to hell. You've been there your whole life. You think that all your accomplishments and you're getting awards and the way you treat people nicely, you think that's going to get you off of that road to hell? No. There is only one way for you to get off of that road to hell, and that's to tell the truth. To free the world from the lies that you created, which caused Michael Jackson to be the one who died before all of you. You know, Michael Jackson was the kid that you guys abandoned, okay? You sure had a good life, Smokey Robinson. Diana Ross sure looks like she had a good life. Berry Gordy sure looks like he had a good life. The Jackson family, boy, they sure had a good life. Now, all of you guys are alive except Joe Jackson. He lived a full life, died of old age, you know. So he's the only one that's gone. All of you, and he was still alive when Michael died. So Michael, out of all of you people, who was the first one to die? Michael Jackson. Well, why is he the first one to die? Oh, because he's actually got problems. He was abandoned as a kid, and he's having to deal with this pain of what you guys did to him his whole life. He could never tell the truth, so who had to carry that burden more than anybody of what you did, Smokey? The burden of your actions, who had to carry that burden their entire life? Oh, Michael Jackson. Michael had to carry your burden, Smokey, because of your lies and your evil doings. So straight out, you killed Michael Jackson. That's all there is to it. Your lies, your evil doings killed Michael Jackson. The only way for you to free yourself from that burden, Smokey Robinson, is to tell the truth. You either tell the truth and free yourself from that, or I could tell you, you're straight going to hell. I don't care how nice of a person you were in this world, because you sure do seem like a pretty nice guy. I'll give you that, dude. You seem like a pretty nice guy. I would think that people that encounter you that are much better for it. I would think that, yeah. But the reality is it's who you really are and the bigger picture of what you've actually done. And you are the single most person in this world who's responsible for killing Michael Jackson. You, Smokey. It's you. Even more than Diana Ross. You single-handedly are the single most responsible person for killing Michael Jackson. You. It's you, Smokey. So either you free yourself from that, or I could tell you, you're going to hell. No chance. No chance you could be considered a good person in the eyes of God when you actually lived your life as a lie that whole way, which led to Michael Jackson dying before all of you. That's why that's the kid. That's why that's the kid that died. That's why Michael's the one that died. It's not going to be anything anybody else want to think. It's one simple reason. Michael Jackson was abandoned as a child. He had to live with that reality as he became a star. His whole entire life while he was a star, he also had to deal with the reality that he wasn't a Jackson, that he was abandoned as a child. That's Michael Jackson. His whole life. So Michael Jackson, as he became the biggest star and stuff, it never satisfied him. It never stopped the pain. Never. Smokey, you understand that? All of the things and what Michael did, the pain never stopped. The reality of the emptiness he had inside, knowing that he was abandoned as a child and that his parents are right there in his front of his face, and still he can't acknowledge to the world who his actual real parents are. You guys still will not stand up in the world and acknowledge to the world that this is your child, and he had to deal with those pains. No wonder he's the first one to die out of all of you. All of you. He died before Joe Jackson, so out of all of you, who was the first one to die? From, Smokey Robinson, Diana Ross, Berry Gordy, and the entire Jackson family. Who was the first one to die? Michael. Because he's the one dealing with real pain. That's why he's freaking medicating himself with the freaking hardest drugs that could possibly be given to man and stuff. He's drugged out of his mind because he's got issues. He never could enjoy the fame and the which way you got to enjoy it, Smokey. Michael didn't get to enjoy fame the way you got to enjoy it. Michael didn't get to live life in which way you got to enjoy it. Diana Ross got to enjoy it. Berry Gordy got to enjoy it. Tomorrow, well, it's nighttime right now, so it's going to be on that verge of because right now it's the 18th, but so tomorrow is actually his birthday. I'm doing this tonight. But so, Tomorrow is going to be your birthday, and you're going to have your children calling you and telling you how much they love you, and your people that you were married to, you know, because I'm thinking like, for some reason I'm thinking like, did Claudette, because Mary Wilson I think messed me up, and I'm thinking, well, did Claudette, because all these people are dying. It's like, all of a sudden right now it's like one of those things, it's like because the Larry King, when I put this on, it's like, yeah, Larry King just died, you know? And it's like, yeah, Mary Wilson just died. It's like, people are dying. All, like, right now is bad. We're in a bad time, you know? People are dying and shit, you know? And it's like, so it's reality. Smokey, are you really going to allow yourself to go through this life and carry that burden to your death? You're not ever going to stand up for Michael Jackson and acknowledge that's your kid? Because I understand the one thing that you think you can't trash the Jackson family. But there's a reality, it's like, dude, the Jackson family would have never had any form of the quality of life of what they had unless you gave Michael to them, okay? The Jacksons have got their quality life. They all got to live, have families, have children. They're all living good lives. They've got enough out of this deal. They've gotten enough. It's time for you to come through with the truth, Smokey Robinson, and clear the air about what actually happened, so you actually can free your soul and you'll have a chance to meet God. Because right now, you're on a highway to hell, buddy. Ain't no doubt about that. And if you hear my words and you actually having to deal with this, Smokey, I know you're smart enough to know. You know, dude, you're done for. You cannot have carried that lie for your whole life, which in turn forced Michael Jackson into becoming a hardcore drug addict, which leads to his death. You caused that. You think that you're going to be able to cause that and live with that kind of lie and go into heaven? That's not going to happen, Smokey. You would never. It's like you think you're buying a stairway to heaven by doing all that other, it will never. Nothing that you ever do will ever overcome what you did to Michael Jackson. You did it. You caused him the pain, which caused him to become a drug addict, which is why he's dead, which is why you're sitting on this TV show remembering about his birth at the time of the creation of Motown.